Sara, a freelance writer, had been searching for a peaceful, affordable place to live. When she stumbled upon an old Victorian house on the outskirts of a small town, she thought it was a dream come true. The house had charm, history, and most importantly, a price she couldn't resist. The realtor mentioned the house had been empty for years, but avoided answering why. Sara didn't press for details. She was just excited to move in. Sara moved in during late autumn. The house was quiet, with creaky wooden floors and tall windows that let in very little light. On her first night, she unpacked some essentials and sat by the fireplace with her laptop, jotting down notes for a new book. Around 11 p.m., she heard a faint knock. Tap, tap, tap. She froze, trying to determine where the sound was coming from. It was subtle, rhythmic, and seemed to echo through the house. When she got up to investigate, the sound stopped. She laughed nervously, chalking it up to the house settling. She went to bed, but throughout the night, she felt an unshakable sense of being watched. Sara spent the next day exploring the house. While cleaning the kitchen, she noticed a dusty old mirror in one of the cabinets. It had ornate carvings around the frame and looked out of place, almost like an antique from another era. She hung it in the hallway to add a touch of character. That evening, while working in the living room, she noticed something odd in her peripheral vision. The large window overlooking the backyard reflected a faint shadow behind her. She turned around quickly, but there was nothing there. Her heart raced, but she convinced herself it was just her imagination. Sara invited her friend Emily over for dinner, hoping to distract herself from her growing unease. Over wine and conversation, she mentioned the strange occurrences, but Emily laughed it off, saying, "Old houses always have a personality." Later that night, as they cleaned up, Emily suddenly froze. She was staring at the kitchen window, her face pale. "What's wrong?" Sara asked, her voice trembling. "There's someone outside," Emily whispered. Sara spun around, but the yard was empty. Emily described the figure as a man with hollow eyes, pale skin, and dressed in old-fashioned clothing. Emily tried to brush it off, but her unease was palpable. They decided to check the house for signs of a break-in. As they walked down the hallway, Sara noticed something chilling. The mirror she had hung earlier was fogged up, as though someone had breathed on it. Written in the fog were the words, "I see you." Emily screamed, and they both ran out of the house, spending the night in Emily's apartment. The next morning, Sara was determined to uncover the truth. She contacted the realtor, who reluctantly admitted the house's dark history. Decades ago, a man named Henry, a recluse, had lived there. He was known for his strange behavior, spending hours standing at the kitchen window, staring into the backyard. One day, neighbors stopped seeing him. When authorities entered the house, they found his lifeless body near the same window. It was ruled a natural death, but rumors of his ghost persisted. Sara decided to dig deeper, visiting the local library. Old newspaper clippings revealed more unsettling details. Henry had become obsessed with a woman who lived next door. Some claimed he watched her until the day he died. Sara returned to the house to pack her things, determined to leave for good. As she walked through the kitchen one last time, she felt an icy chill. The lights flickered, and the tapping sound started again. Tap, tap, tap. Terrified, she turned toward the window. This time, the figure wasn't just a reflection. A man stood outside, his pale face pressed against the glass, his lifeless eyes locked onto hers. The lights went out completely, plunging the house into darkness. In the silence, Sara heard the faintest whisper, "Stay with me." Grabbing her keys, she bolted from the house. As she drove away, she glanced in the rearview mirror. The man was standing in the upstairs window, watching her leave. Sara never returned to the house. A few weeks later, she heard it had been put back on the market. No one knew why she left so suddenly, but she would never forget the hollow-eyed man and his chilling message.